Welcome to another episode of Sideline Sounds and Three-Team Parlays.
I'm Crouchy, he's Oj. You're listening to the hottest podcast in the QAnon. Morning, Oj. Back to Studio One. As you can see, coming up the driveway today, you can tell what season it is.
Yeah, you got a mess. There's no doubt about it. But at least we're looking at clay and dirt right now,
Yeah.
not the white stuff, right? You had some melting action, so that's good to see. But that's one of the perks of living around here when you got a gravel driveway in the yard that you do, and you can't just go out and scoop your driveway clean in the wintertime. So you got to have some help, and that's what happens with the plow,
Well, we got the power broom fired up, and I do appreciate the fact that you volunteered to spend your whole afternoon helping me shovel my yard and driveway back together.
Hey, as long as you come down with a rake and a broom and a dustpan and pick up deer marbles for 3 hours, which is what I did yesterday, and I didn't even touch the main yard yet. That was just at Urkula's, so it's awful. I can't even describe to you how much deer crap's down there. Just crazy. But anyway, we'll get through it. Decent day today.
Okay. Sports world's kind of at a slowdown. MLB's going on, the NBA playoffs, which we really couldn't care less about, but I guess the draft happened this weekend. And I'll be completely honest, this is the least amount of the draft I watched in the history of my life.
Well, you were busy last 2 days.
I was busy.
Well, Thursday night, though, what's going on Thursday?
I'm trying to think what
Why the heck didn't you watch the opening round? I actually like it, and they sped that up a little bit. I think they went from 10 minutes to 8.
Yes,
And
it was quick.
It felt like it was like 5 minutes different. I mean, they really went through that pretty quickly, which I like. So I enjoyed that, especially the fact that the Cowboys had two picks in the first round, so that made it a little more interesting. But yeah, I enjoyed Thursday night. And
I did watch a little bit Thursday night. I was kind of putzing around. We had stuff obviously this weekend to get set up for, and then I'm messing a little bit with the yard, so I did watch a little bit, but not usually. I'm kind of locked in with that, especially that first day.
Yeah, well, and the other side of it, so I'm into it because Dallas has the picks there in the first round, and Green Bay didn't have any.
Yeah.
So that probably played a little bit into it for you, but yeah, it was. I guess early on, the biggest surprise was the Ty Simpson getting drafted by the Rams, and this goes back to I was kind of poking Robert from Saline the other day because he still goes off on the whole Aaron Rodgers thing when they drafted Love, and they should have been drafting somebody to help Rodgers get Green Bay to the next level. Apparently some Rams fans felt the same way. Then there was some comments that McVay was pissed also. How he didn't know, I don't understand. I mean, I don't think that's a thing, but who knows. So what they did was they went and took Ty Simpson, quarterback from Alabama, which everybody kind of said he was going to be the next quarterback taken after Mendoza, but I don't think people thought it was going to be with the Rams. They apparently talked to Matt Stafford, gave him the plan of what they were going to do. So that kind of changed things, and then the fact that changed things, and then there was some old linemen that were taken early, and as that was going on, I'm thinking, all right, and it was weird for me because the two guys I wanted Dallas to take were both Ohio State guys.
That's tough, eh?
Yeah, if Sonny Styles somehow dropped, or if they traded up to get him, because the Cowboys had the 12th pick. Well, then it got down to right around 10, and they traded up one slot from 12 to 11 and picked Caleb Downs up, the safety from Ohio State. So I think he's just a damn good football player. So I was fired up with that. Then they got an edge rusher at 20. And other than that, I don't know. Packers, what'd they do? They had a second round.
Not a lot.
D tackle or
tackles.
Did they take a Michigan? No, the Lions did.
And they took I think at the end of the draft they took a kicker.
Well,
but not a lot. Just reading stuff. Our boy Mel Kiper and the crew gave the Packers a C+, which isn't showing off, isn't falling behind, as we know. But not a lot there. I guess I'm not as disappointed with the Packers. Again, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. They've typically done well with that stuff. But kind of back to the Ty Simpson thing, it was almost like the Packers drafted Love. But look at over the history of the league and those teams that draft those quarterbacks that are good and they don't have to play right away. What do you think their success rate is?
Yeah. it's tough on the fans, and they want to win. But
Right.
you look at Green Bay now. They've been a model of consistency here in the recent years. I think if the Packers go to the playoffs this year as a wild card and lose in the first round again, there might be some grumblings about how we're going to get this thing to the next level, whether it's coach, quarterback, or what. But I think there's something to be said for that for sure. And one quarterback that will not be
your boy, your boy,
that will not be taking reps at any camp because he was not drafted, and that's our minuscule little buddy from I don't even know Vanderbilt. Yeah, Mr. Diego Pavia was not drafted. That was a listener question last time we were there. So yeah, you're 5'10", you got alligator arms and small hands. It ain't gonna happen. Plus an attitude problem. So.
Well, maybe a lot of the GMs in the league were listening to the pod last time when we gave our take on them.
Yeah, I'm sure that had something to do with it. But other than that, it was just on for me the next couple of days and paid attention. Take a look at what Dallas picked, and that's about all I did with the draft.
But regardless, the NFL again prints money. Even though you're not interested in it, you still have it on, still paying attention to it.
Crazy, isn't it? It's something else.
It is. I'm going to give you a thumbs up on the Cowboys. That Caleb Downs, he could have very easily been the first pick in the draft, and people would have been okay. I mean, I think he had that type of talent.
Yeah, they said his safety, but his football IQ on the defensive side of the ball is big time, and they said he'll instantly be a leader in that secondary. Hopefully this edge guy gives them some help too, but they had to reshape that whole defense.
Well, you think their defense is better today than it was last season?
No doubt. They traded for a linebacker too from the 49ers, so.
And part of the reasons the Packers don't have picks this year is because for the Micah Parsons trade, which that's a good trade across for both teams at this point.
Yeah, true. Very true.
You've been paying attention to baseball? I've been just kind of checking scores. I watched a little bit of the Tigers. Just still not completely into it. Every time I get on the Tigers get hot, I watch them and then they perform poorly. And then every time I start complaining about them, they go on win streaks. So,
they had their little midweek series with the Brewers this week, and I got all set to watch it. I think it started on Monday. No, maybe Monday was an off day. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday series, whatever it was. I was all fired up to watch that first game in the evening, and I paid that $100 for the Cowboys for the Brewers to get their whole season on the MLB app, and went to put it on, and it is blacked out because they're playing the Tigers.
Oh boy!
Because so they were playing the Tigers, and it was blacked out. So I listened to the games. Brewers rolled them in game 1, 12-4. Game 2, Tigers came back and got them, and then game 3. That was a kick in the teeth for Brewer fans. They played exactly the way they need to play against a guy like Skubal, and chased him in the 7th inning. Just played small ball like the Brewers do. Got him out of the game, took the lead, and then their 8th inning tied it. 9th inning lost it. But
bullpen problems.
Wow! But listen to this. You'll like this. So Wednesday was wine bottling night.
Oh yeah, we got to get to that too at the end of this.
So Tab was over, and I made a comment. We were listening to the game, and I made a comment kind of ripping on Mr. Torkelson a little bit and his lack of hitting.
We appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, I went after Tork a little bit, and Tab kind of just shook his head and agreed with me. And moments later, he belted his first home run of the season, and then follows that up the next day by winning it in the 9th inning. So I single-handedly, Tiger fans, brought Spencer Torkelson out of his drought with back-to-back home runs on 2 games there. So, I've been paying attention to watching the Brewers when I can. They're 500 right now. They've lost 4 in a row. I think they were in a losing streak the last time they were here, and then won a bunch. But they've lost 4 straight now. Last night bullpen. They couldn't hold on to a lead late against the Pirates. They got Paul Skeensed the day before that. But their record yesterday was the exact same record they had last year at the same time. So I'm counting on getting some guys healthy. Churio gets back. Andrew Vaughn, Yelich gets back later May. and they go on a little bit of a run. But the problem is right now that division is really playing well.
Yeah.
I mean, the Cincinnati Reds might be as good as anybody
Well,
in baseball at this point.
Long day yesterday. Needless to say, I had a long day yesterday. Tigers come on at 7:30. I flip it on. I'm like, all right, we'll watch the Tigers. It was 6-0 off the rip.
Yeah.
Reds, home runs. Mr. Valdez has not performed well, and then yesterday, I mean, Tigers had batting practice, throwing to the Reds. Boom, 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 gone.
And didn't they blow a big lead the night before?
Yeah.
So Cincinnati's playing really well. Cubs are right behind them. That whole division's 500 or better. Atlanta's, they're up in there. They're 19-9, so they're off to a good start. Padres, Dodgers are at 18-8, 18-9. They're right up there in the West. But did you know? I was just looking at this. Mason Miller, big guy, closes for the Padres. He is now at 34 2/3 scoreless innings of relief pitching, which is getting up there. I think Greg Olson. Not Greg Olson. What the heck was his name? Greg Olson's a tight end, isn't he?
Yeah, he does.
Where the
TV now?
Yeah, it is. Greg Olson of the Orioles. 41 innings pitched from 89 to 90. Brad Ziegler, never heard of him. Well, because he's with Oakland, 2008. 39, Ryan Presley, the Astros, 39 innings. Josh Hader, 38 for the Brewers. So those are some of the names of relievers that are scoreless. But that game was in Mexico last night, I think, against the Diamondbacks. So that was something I saw of note. American League Yankees are rolling. They're 18-9. Boston completely sucks. I haven't Caskin Flagan or Fairfield Garrett should be commenting on those guys. They go out and score 17 runs yesterday. Speaking of batting practice, after the game they fire their manager and 5 coaches.
I saw that.
I mean, Joey Cora is gone, so I don't know. That's a little odd time to do it. That Tiger division are all about 500. Cleveland's 15-13, Detroit's 14-14, and who cares about the AL West? So, yeah, that's where we're at MLB wise. We'll keep paying attention. Like I said, hopefully the Brewers get things stabilized injury wise and get rolling.
You got anything on the NBA? Because I have got to be honest. I don't even know who's playing.
Yeah, there's some interesting things going on there. I have not watched a game from start to finish yet. I've had them on. There's been some interesting ones. I'm kind of chuckling a little bit because the Knicks fans are going nuts because they were down 2-1 to Atlanta. Nice. But New York came back and won yesterday to tie it at 2. Our number 1 seed Detroit Pistons are down 2-1.
I did see that.
Orlando beat them yesterday. So that's a little bit of a surprise. That's going to be a tussle all the way through. I'm a little bit surprised with the Lakers. Bryant Reeves, I think his name is. He's out, and then of course Luka. And they're up 3-0 on Houston. OKC's up 3-0.
Lakers played today?
I believe so.
So I was listening to Sports Center, and the Lakers are not going to shoot around today before the game. They want to keep LeBron as fresh as possible.
Oh, God. Did we get a text about him from somebody?
I have no idea. If it said LeBron, I didn't read it.
I think there might have been a group one that come on. But the biggest thing that I'm going to be paying attention to coming up here is the fact that the Timberwolves, who were up 2-1 on Denver, big underdogs in the series, yesterday, Dante DiVincenzo goes down in the first couple minutes of the game. Was a starter, he's a big contributor for Minnesota, and it looks or sounds like it's Achilles.
Oh boy.
Which means, he's donezo. But then later on in the game,
what's his name?
Dante DiVincenzo.
Is donezo.
Is donezo. So he's going to be out, but then they lose the Anthony Edwards goes
he
down.
was hurt too. What did he do?
It's a knee. They said hyperextended, and MRI today. Now I heard on the way here that he's ruled out for the rest of the series.
Oh boy.
So you got the Timberwolves who won yesterday without those guys. They rolled them. They're up 3-1, but can they close out the Nuggets? Really to me it's a 2-game series. They're going to probably go down to Denver and get blown out, right? So it's 3-2 back to Minnesota. Tell me there's not pressure on that game. Because the last thing they want is to go to Denver at 3-3 for a Game 7 without those guys, right? So it might be a quick one tomorrow or whenever they play in Denver next, but it's going to be big to see that Game 6 in Minnesota without those guys.
Who's happy about this too?
No.
Mr. Anthony Santi.
Oh, he's a Timberwolf fan?
Well, it brings Denver to town, and Steve Short and
the
whole connection with the Kingsford connection there with the Nuggets and being obviously being close friends, so I know he'll be happy about that. I'm sure he'll be in rare form sending pictures every 12 minutes. But
yeah, so that was a little bit of fun with the NBA playoffs, and I'll watch more as the series go, but at least that's something to keep your eye on.
Okay. The other day, we posted on some of our social media sites a picture of you and the Silver Fox reaping the rewards of the wine bottling process.
Yeah, so I think I'm probably going to order some stuff, and go through the whole thing one more time with him. Tab was great. He's obviously done it a number of times, but helped me through the early stages of it. And then, once the wine was done bubbling, we waited a little while longer.
I'll bet you Jenny Bujak's happy to have those big jugs of wine out of the
Yeah, she didn't really say a whole lot about it, though.
Not to you, but she's told me.
Well, it's at least they're gone now before fruit fly season comes. You can't have that, right? So, but we did the old siphoning.
You did, hey?
Oh yeah, that's how we filled up every bottle. There was no sediment at all. It's crystal clear. He's got the hose goes down into, it's down the bottom, but there's a little gasket on the end of that where you push down and it doesn't take in any of the sediment at all. So once you get that wine siphoning through the hose, just bottle after bottle.
You get a mouthful and then put the hose in the
A
bottle?
couple times there's a little bit of splash. Yeah. Well, I just spit that stuff right back into the jug,
So how many bottles did you guys make?
24, I believe we had. Tab thought it might be around 25, or maybe it was 23.
Well, it's probably supposed to be 25, but you had a mouthful every time.
Yeah. Well, we had a little bit that night. We tasted it. It came out great. I thought it really did. It was
blueberry?
All blueberry, yep. So, if you behave yourself, next time we come down for a tub, we'll give you a sip.
Man, I can't wait.
Yeah, so it's got them all in the basement. That spurred me on to go down in the basement and do a little cleaning so I can store the wine down there. But it's all done and came out great.
So you have a wine cellar?
Yeah, there you go.
All right, yeah, I'm actually interested to try a little bit of that. Like I said, we put the picture up there.
Everything in moderation, Croce.
Well, it's weird though that you drink it out of a bottle. I mean, did you have any thoughts of when you took it out of after you were siphoning it out, to just put it into a box?
Well, here's the funny thing. Of all people to not have enough wine bottles 2 days before bottling, you would think, we would have been prepared. No, we were throwing them out for a year and a half or whatever and couldn't save any of them. So we're scrambling during the last few days to get the amount of bottles that we needed. But we got there. I found a way. It was tough, but we found a way.
If it's important, you'll find a way. Mark Leaf, tip of the cap today, Oj. Ironically enough, I spoke with Mr. Mark Leaf this weekend, talked to him for a little bit on the phone, caught up a little bit. And,
does he have any clue about the Mark Leaf tip of the cap?
Well, here's the best part, and you better be sitting down for this one. So we start talking, and he goes, "Hey, how's the Mark Leaf tip of the cap going?" And I said, "Oh, you listen?" He goes, "I actually watch it on YouTube."
Really?
Never saw that one coming, did you?
I did not. I didn't know you could. I just thought you put highlights. You can watch the whole thing?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. Say hi to
Leafer!
So, yeah, we got obviously the conversation turns to, hey, we got to get together here. It's been a hot minute since.
Yeah, that's the thing about getting out of coaching. You just don't see your friends and enemies either. But it's been a while since I got to see Leafer for sure.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna give the Mark Leaf tip of the cap to my number one daughter, Cameron Grace Irene.
LMS.
Yep, LMS. Graduated from Michigan Tech this weekend. Very proud of her. Long day, but we were able to. We actually
for a number of reasons. But.
Yeah, we were able to secure one of the suites in the hockey arena. So we had jam that with family and friends. Got to take part in that and watch her walk across the stage and get her diploma. So that was a very proud moment for our family.
Damn right. Congrats, LMS, and that's it now. Both done.
Yeah.
Jesus, eh? Time flies.
Man, and we're still so young.
Design to Construct is a full-service commercial design and construction company located in Jackson, Wisconsin, dedicated to creating personalized building solutions to meet our clients' goals. Our lasting relationships with past customers truly help set us apart from any other design build company.
Okay, Oj, we have Croce's Corner today, and we got a little. We're able to catch up with Michigan Tech Husky coach Josh Bittner. and recap this record-breaking, memorable season that the Huskies went on.
Yeah,
run
very,
this year.
very good. Certainly, we had talked about this a little bit. It would have been nice if they were full strength going into that game, and they weren't. But give them credit, the team that beat them kept on rolling.
Yeah, and we talked about that a little bit, and that's a kind of a tough deal. Are you happy or are you sad? But yeah, great season. So let's hear from Coach Bittner.
All right, we're here with Coach Bittner, coming off a record-setting season, and it's been a while since we had you on the pod, Bits, and we got to ask you, have you actually listened?
I have a couple. I'm not a regular. I catch up in the summer when I start taking recruiting drives. I pick out the people that we need to hear. So,
oh, awesome. Well, let's kind of talk about your season. Great season again. Last season was a great year. NCAA tournament, a lot of guys coming back. Talk a little bit about what you guys had for expectations this year with the returning talent, the experience going into it.
Obviously, I mean, the expectations inside, outside, around the program were very high. When you bring back the 5 guys that were starting on the team that we had the year prior that won the league outright and won a game in the NCAA tournament, the expectations were going to be sky high. And you know what? It was a long year. It was a grind. It was obviously at the end, it's very rewarding, but you took everybody's best shot every night. You were circled on everybody's calendars, and we played a million close games. We played an extremely tough schedule again, and every night was just a battle. And you know what? Our guys kept fighting and did the little things that help you win those close games. And we got to the end and got to make a little bit of a run, and it kind of made it all worthwhile.
Well, talk about that schedule. You had some games early on that you guys picked up, kind of traveled all over the place and played some really tough programs and performed well.
Part of what made it long is we played 2 extra games that were 2 weeks before your normal start date. We played an exempt tournament down in Florida, and we played, I think Dallas Baptist was 2 or 3 in the country. Renora Ryan was 13 or 14 in the country. Went down there, and honestly, experiencing it in hindsight was what a couple people told me. If you go down there and play in an event like that, it feels like what the Elite Eight's going to feel like, and it did. We went down there and pulled out 2 overtime wins, and you know what? When you left there, our guys actually believed that they could play and beat anybody in the country. So that was well worth it.
And then you took the trip to Florida, played a couple teams down there, and I remember watching the game when you guys played Lynn, and that was as good of a shooting performance as you. I mean, that it almost looked like practice.
No, for sure. I mean, you had the Duluth tournament there where Duluth and St. Cloud were the 2 best teams in that league. So, I mean, we were tested. We went down to Florida that time, and it was a team. Lynn's a pretty good team. They were in the tournament last year, and their system is to play zone for 40 minutes. And you know what? We didn't get many open looks for Tyre Marcus the entire year. Everybody had them pretty scouted, and you know what? You get a team that says they're going to play zone no matter what, and that's their system. And we went down there and got hot, and that was a crazy one to watch.
It was quite the performance, which brings you right into the grind of the GLIAC season. Talk a little bit about that, because the competition level that you're facing night in and night out in the GLIAC is as good as probably anywhere in the country.
I know you feel it in football, but the GLIAC has turned into the best conference in the region by far, and one of the best in the country. It's always been really good, but now you win the GLIAC, you can win the region. And the last 3 regional winners have all been GLIAC teams. There was 3 old teams, us, Northern, and Grand Valley, were all in today's world of college athletics. To have as many returning guys as we did, there were going to be some battles, and it's the same thing with Michigan Tech. We're good enough to beat anybody, but with our clientele, if we don't have our best, we can lose to anybody. And we don't run people out that much, and we took everybody's best shots, and it gets so physical, and we were beat up, and teams have been playing our guys for 4 years, and every night was just a slugfest, and we hung around enough games and pulled out enough to get a share of the conference and got ourselves in the NCAA, which was the ultimate goal. Well,
and again, winning the GLIAC is nothing to shake a stick at there. That's, like I said, the toughest league in the conference or the country. And then you jump into the GLIAC tournament where you're playing everybody again. And if you make a run through there, you're going to be beat up a little bit and hope that if you don't win, you get into the tournament. But, tough loss with Grand Valley, who battled with you all year long, but you still got the bid into the tournament, and you got to match up with them again, and that was another unbelievable game.
No, it's kind of wild. If you ask me, the two worst matchups in the country for us were probably Davenport and Grand Valley, and we get Davenport in the quarters of the conference tournament, and then get Grand Valley for the third time in the conference tournament. And honestly, that was the first game where I thought we were prepared. We were in the right spots. We get going the second half. We had a tough start in that game. We come back, we take the lead at halftime. Everybody in the locker room felt like, wow, we're in the perfect spot. We're going to get them. We come out in the second half, and it was wild. It was like a 24-2 run or something. And there was only one turnover maybe, and maybe one or two bad shots. For a run like that, to still kind of be getting the shots you want and whatever, we just missed everything. And that felt like the only game all year where it was just like, here we go again. And we kind of let that one go away. I felt like we didn't fight all the way to the end in that one, which was disappointing. But our guys get to the NCAAs. We beat a Lake Erie team, and we get Grand Valley again. And you know what? There's no secrets. We've played 12 times in 4 years. They have 4 seniors that knew our 4 seniors. They're bigger, more athletic than us, and our guys just hung around, and took the first lead on the big shot at the end of the game.
And that again would just you probably got years taken off your life with those nail biters coming to the end. But talk about that, winning that regional, getting to advance to the Elite Eight, which I believe is the first time.
Yep, first time we got there. And you know what? Once you got by Grand Valley, it was a little bit of it just felt like our guys were a little bit, we got over that hurdle. And as an assistant, I've been to that Sweet 16 game twice. Once was against the jury team that won the national title.
Did they?
They did that year.
That's one that they kept. Are they the ones that lost?
No, that was way before. This was me as an assistant.
Oh, that was
not Kentucky wasn't when they didn't. But jury, I don't know. I never saw the trophy. And then the COVID year, we were in the Sweet 16 versus Truman. Probably should have won that game. That was Luker's last game. And since it was COVID, whatever, it was an empty gym, but never saw the trophy. And this was the first time we're warming up, and it's like, it's always been the dream to try to get one of those. And doing the radio with Josh in the corner, and they put the trophy right behind our bench. And it's like, wow, this went from a good year, but it's going to feel really bad if we don't get this, like when it's this close. And then came out and got it. Played probably our best game of the year. Our guys played loose and free. It was finally like, wow, we're finally the underdog. We're in a gym that's loud and rowdy, and we're not supposed to win. And our guys just got to have fun probably for the first time all year. There wasn't like that burden that you're supposed to win. You're supposed to be better. You're supposed to do this. It was just go play. And it was a pretty awesome feeling.
Kind of change of environments from the other games to
for sure
playing the whole squad there. So then talk about the trip to Pittsburgh, the Elite Eight, matching up with Gannon.
Awesome experience. We got the charter out there, the NCAA, so you felt like you were a little bit big time. They did the pre-thing banquet at, I'm not even sure what it's called. I think it was Heinz Field.
Heinz Field. So
you're in the atrium there. You go take a picture out in the stand. Like everything was really cool. Then you get to the game, and we had a lot of good fortune all year. We didn't have guys miss games all year, but Marcus ended up with a little bit of a broken foot from the thing and had a stiff pinched nerve in his neck. He couldn't do anything the 3 games, couldn't get a shot up past the free throw line until the game started. Jesse's got the flu. Obviously, missed his first 7 free throws. Like, you could barely stand up, but you're looking at him and you're like, well, he's at least getting to the free throw line. In a game like that with those 2 guys that switch as well as they are, and it turns into where you have to be able to create a little bit one-on-one. Those are your 2 top guys besides Dawson, and they just didn't have anything. And I thought we fought. I thought we had the right game plan. I thought we did the right things. We just had, honestly, a historically bad shooting night. And some of it was because those guys were hurt. Some of it, we were 8 of 22, 3 of them in front ends. I don't think a Michigan Tech team's ever went 8 of 25 from the free throw line. Marcus is 2 of 14. I think a lot of guys probably went to play. He's a guy that's a competitor. He's going to go out there. Honestly, if he bangs a couple to start, the adrenaline probably kicks in a little bit more. But No, we couldn't make a shot. They were begging us to make a run. We took care of the ball well enough. I think it was the second lowest point total they had all year. But you got to be able to score 70 in the Elite Eight if you want to get there. And you know, a team that averages 95 and in the 70s. So I thought we did the things we needed to do to win. We just didn't have our best shot. And the way the bracket fell would have been nice because I think we would have had a great shot against the teams they played in the semis and the finals.
Well, it's a credit to the guys on your team and, you know, the investment they've made. A lot of guys wouldn't have even been able to get out on the floor like those guys. So that's just the type of character kids in your program there. And then kind of, you know, one question I got for you now, because Gannon ended up winning the tournament. Does it make you happy that they won it, or is it bittersweet that, like, because in all reality, Michigan Tech was right there with them?
It's a mix of both. I watched the semi game, and then they played the final in Indy when we were down for convention. So I actually we were at the game in the final, and one, it makes you feel a little bit, because when you get beat by 20 in that last game, it's like whatever. And then the next two scores were the exact same as ours. They won by 20 plus in the semis and finals. So that part makes you feel a little better that at least it wasn't like, wow, we got embarrassed on whatever. But it gives you that. And Michigan Tech, you're coaching, like, you dream and you want to get yourself that opportunity, but do you really ever truly believe you can win the whole national title? And I don't know that we can, but watching the end of it, it made you feel like you could be right there, which is pretty awesome if you can get to that point again. So it's not really answering your question. It's giving you both sides of it, but there's some good and there's some bad with it. Would love another shot at them, but that's sports.
Yeah, well, for sure. But again, it's losing to the national champion is nothing. And I think anybody that knows anything about basketball knows that Michigan Tech probably, if and any other day besides that, probably it's probably going to come down to the last shot and take more years off your life and make your hair gray.
For sure.
So what do you take away from this season? Right, obviously, it's, like I said, it's a grind, but it's obviously a pretty rewarding season across the board. What do you take away from it, and then how does that springboard you into the future?
I think the biggest, you always relate a season kind of with your seniors, and that's what made this one really fulfilling. Is it was a group of guys that just believed the entire time. There's a lot of, we were going into the conference tournament 4 years ago when these guys were freshmen. We had 8 wins. We sneak in as the 8 seed and win 2 games, get to the championship. And the next year we took a little step, and then we won the league, and then we make the run. And for those guys to keep believing when there was a 10 and 20 and 11 and 19 season when they're freshmen and sophomores, to keep believing and working, and then to kind of see it pay off, was pretty awesome for that. And that's probably the most rewarding part of it. And there's a little bit with Marcus too. That's a guy in today's world. He turned down a lot of money and a lot of opportunities to come back for his senior year. And for him to get to hold the trophy and cut the net on that regional stage and go where he haven't, that was really rewarding. One, that he was rewarded for coming back, and something that we can use as examples when we're trying to keep good players here, for their 3rd and 4th years in the future.
Yeah, no doubt. In the get-rich-quick world of college athletics, Michigan Tech's kind of the anomaly and how to go about doing it. And
we're going to try to keep doing it. It's going to be hard, but that's the plan we're going to stick to until we can.
Yeah, and again, you have that, like you said, those seniors obviously hold a big spot in your heart and in this program, and it's something that the younger kids can build off of and keep, have expectations and see that if you do things the right way.
Yeah, the spring forward part is that group. I don't think we need to go all the way back to we got some guys here that played some huge minutes and some huge games, and the only fear as a coach, and you coached long enough to know some of that, is our freshmen and sophomores now just know winning, which is right. Which is awesome, but they don't know the struggle completely that went into it before that. So we're trying to convince them how hard it is to get there and to stay there. But you'd rather have guys that only know winning and have that as an expectation than having to build it back up. So we're just trying to find that, and I think we have a group that's going to be fun. I think they're excited. We're excited to coach them. love coaching these old guys, but when you've had a group together for that long, there just wasn't that much more we could do except for do the things we do as well as you can. And you're fighting those battles. And now it's going to get back to exploring roles a little bit and exploring new things offensively and defensively, and the fun challenge of coaching a new group.
Oh, that's awesome. One quick kind of side note now is, last time we talked, we had you and Luker, and we're talking about that regional that was hosted at Michigan Tech and you as a player. And now getting to, playing in that regional, in that environment, and coaching in that environment. What are your thoughts on that?
It's just,
it's kind of a unique situation.
If you're going back to the why of why you coach and do that, like, that was one of the best experiences of my life as a player. And part of why you get back and do the assistant and get into coaching is a little bit of the selfish part is trying to experience that again for me. And two is trying to get guys to get that experience, like have your relationships and friends that you built doing that. And I mean, that's what we talked about a little bit when this was done. Trying to get to that level, and I'm hoping these seniors and these guys on this team have those relationships that I have and have the memories. And there was a lot of cool memories down the stretch in that tournament run, and I hope they get that. And it was kind of a dream come true I know it's a regional, not a national title, but to hold that NCAA trophy was when you've been close and never been able to do it, that was a pretty sweet thing.
And I'm going to kind of reiterate what you said. And I think all the years I was coaching, not the same level, but as a player, when you experience success, and you just remember that, I mean, like I said, go back to your buddies that you played with and those experiences, and then getting in that role as a coach, you go back and you're like, man, I'd love to see our kids get to experience what I did, and maybe even take it further. And that's really, like I said, I think you said that's kind of why you get into coaching.
100%. Like, we told those stories in 0203. There's lines out to the ticket office waiting to get in, a sold out gym, and you get to go down the Walsh. And obviously, it's not here, but it was still a really cool experience down there being in Canton for a whole week. And you come in, we walk in the gym an hour and a half, and their students were all lined up already in their gym. There's a line. You had to walk through people to get in there and warm up an hour before the doors opened. And no, it had those vibes for sure. And just playing in a packed gym on only 16 teams left in the country and getting there. And obviously it got Marcus going. I mean, he was spectacular in that game. But
we even said that, those first games that you guys played, there wasn't a huge crowd there, and said it might be to Walsh's detriment to have a packed house like that and see that,
everybody was texting after we beat Grand Valley, who would you rather play, Northern or Walsh? And you don't want to give a real answer. And there's part of you that thinks playing Northern, they're a little beat up, whatever, on a neutral court is better. And then there's, instead of playing the home team, the one seed with a packed crowd, they're sleeping in their own beds. We've been on the road 6 days, but a lot of you just like wanting that challenge, that atmosphere, playing somebody new. You can act like they didn't know to guard Marcus, but they were tough shots. Like, they just don't understand what guarding Marcus is. I mean, they're there, but there's a difference between there and being so close that they can't get it off. And the other thing is Walsh us and Grand Valley were two of the best defenses in the country this year, and Walsh just hadn't seen a defense like ours, and that was big too.
Yeah, for sure. It's hard to replicate in practice. And thank you for sharing that with us. Obviously, we're very proud of you. You did Copper Country proud, Tech proud. Everybody's very happy for you, and we're looking forward to what you bring to the table next season.
No, it'll be fun. Congrats on your countdown.
Yeah, appreciate it.
You don't have that much time left at the Lakeland, and
I'll be entering the transfer portal. Thanks, Bets.
All right, take care.
We got to go to the mailbag, and I'm going to tell you what, we're going to need a forklift to lift this mailbag today, because we have, holy cow, do we have the stuff in the mailbag today.
Yeah, and very good questions. I want to thank and compliment every one of these people that sent their questions in this week, because I thought well thought out and put some, challenge us a little bit too.
Do you know why you're going to say that?
No.
What names are missing from the list of question senders?
Normal Matthew. Jesse from Apple.
yeah. All right. Howdy, boys. Howdy, Paul. Good question. Who would be your number one pick in an all-time NFL draft? Paul from Boise. Good question. I've gone round and round on this one. You want to go first or second?
I'll let you go first.
So, right when you know what my initial one was? And it would be a bad one, I couldn't do it, but what if I drafted Bo Jackson and paid him so he didn't go to baseball and didn't get hurt?
Well, you could. Running backs' life expectancy is not big in the NFL, not long.
It's not, but he had a little different talent than a lot of.
Well, if you're going to go that route, why wouldn't you take Barry Sanders?
The Bo Jackson thing always intrigued me, just the what if. But you know who I'm taking with my number one pick?
Nope.
Lawrence Taylor.
Is that because it came out this week that
No.
he drank 41 beers
Oh, I did not see that.
before a practice or something like that? 41, maybe night before a game.
Was he with Wade Boggs?
Yeah.
No, I did not hear anything about that.
Yeah, he was some interview. He said he slammed 41 of them. I don't know. I think it was the day before a game. Lawrence Taylor's a good one. If you're going to go on that defensive side.
I know, and I know you're probably going to go Everybody's going to would answer that and go quarterback, and I think you do. But which one do you go with? I mean, that's the thing. So
That is the thing, and I think you'll agree with me. And
I knew you were going quarterback. I'm
Yeah.
going defense. I'm gonna ride LT, hope and try and keep him out of trouble and sober. And
yeah, good luck. Yeah, so I'm going to go quarterback, and you know the obvious ones pop up recently. Mahomes, he's probably one of the best.
yeah,
You got Brady, right? 6th round pick that did what he did. But I'm going to look at it from a pure talent perspective, and I'm going to think that my ability to hire the right people in the organization and get the right people around him would make him a 3, 4, 5-time Super Bowl champion, already a Hall of Famer. But talent-wise, this guy might have been the best in the last how many years coming out. Pure arm strength, athleticism, John Elway.
that's a solid choice.
I'm going for that little challenge
He
right
did
there.
have the arm. He had a hose.
He had it all. I mean, he did. He could run. He did everything coming out. And no, he had the Hall of Fame career. It was still great at Denver, but he only had the one Super Bowl. So
Yeah, did he have one or two?
did he have
I
two?
think
Oh,
went
maybe
back-
he
They
did.
went back to back. Yeah, they beat the Packers.
Back to back.
I
Let's.
think
Should we check that?
no, who cares? That's a good one, and I think the way you set that up, I think, is the whole key. Like a lot of people would say, "Well, I'm going Tom Brady." Tom Brady was a 6th round pick. How different is his career if he goes to a rotten organization? Do you think that changes
True.
his legacy? I think the environment that
Yeah, you're right. Boy, I totally forgot that.
That one
1998, 1999.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm staying. That doesn't change my mind, obviously, but yeah, so that's what I'm doing. Good question.
Okay. Oh boy.
Want me to jump on this one?
Yeah. Make sure you read the beginning right, because there needs to be a pee-pee whapping.
Hey, Grouchy and Oj. The first question. On a busy day at a casino, will the chair at a table or a slot be the most profitable? What? He must have worded that wrong.
Yeah.
What would be the most profitable throughout the day? And what are your favorite casino games? Let's just start with that right there.
Well, first of all, I go by Crouchy, not Grouchy. I hope that's a typo. Otherwise, he's definitely going to get put on
Yeah,
suspension.
I'm guessing not, but anyway.
Okay, I will take this one because I have some first-hand experience. There's nothing you can do to change my mind that if you have the right people, playing craps at a casino is the best game. It's not even close. If it's just you and one other guy and you're just chucking it, but when you have a table that has people that are and people are winning and having fun, there's nothing better in a casino.
I can't argue with you. I've witnessed it. I've never played. Don't know all the little craps rules like obviously you do, but it is fun to watch that. When people get hot and there's a group there, everybody is having fun pounding on that guy, you know, the dealer or whatever. But it's that looks like a blast, so I can't argue that at all.
Well, fun fact, this weekend we were down at the football clinic in Escanaba and we went over to the casino and a few of my buddies, we sat down and played craps for 4 hours. We were on a heater. The people at the table were awesome And everything we just described happened firsthand this past weekend. It was awesome. Everybody won some money. Everybody had a great time. And next thing you know, 4 hours has passed.
Well, there you go. That's one of the few times you can hear of a success story from the casino, but that's great.
And I guess to answer Oja's question for him, if he's going to a casino, he's playing video poker.
Yeah, and
Probably at the bar, so he can keep getting.
and I got some rules with that too.
Oh,
Well, in Vegas, we talked about this. They used to be, as long as you had a beer or a drink, you could play for free, right?
wait. If you were gambling, your drinks
Drinks were free. Yeah, sorry, not play for free. The
I
drinks were free.
I want to
sorry.
go to that
Yeah.
casino.
Yeah, I'll let you know where that one is. So yeah, you can drink for free as long as you're playing. Boy, did I totally twist that one up.
So you're buying a beer and gambling for free. That I bet you that casino doesn't last long.
But they changed that also. I mean, they last time I was there, they put the little red light, green light on there, where if you are not playing fast enough, if you're not hitting the damn button quick enough, then you're not getting the free beer, which pissed me off. I got into it with a guy at Caesars on that. But back in the day, that was pretty nice. And you can sit there and watch a ball game and hit that button every once in a while. And I'm not saying I'm hitting it every half an hour, but
You're not just going slapping the button as fast.
And then, if say we're at one of the local casinos in the UP, I would use the 2-sip rule, where you got to take 2 sips before you hit that button. I'm not just going to sit there and pepper that thing like some of these people do, right? So, no, with the 2-sip rule, I tend to go through a few bottles pretty quick. So there's some other effects, but it does make that $20 bill last a little while in that machine. So that's one, but I do like, and I don't see them often, but I like 3-card poker.
Yeah.
It's a fun little game to play. Simple. You can get rolling there too, beating the dealers. So when they have those, I'll usually sit down and play some 3-card. Blackjack, everybody's too tight at those places. It's you got to worry about playing the exact way so you don't screw your partner and whatever. But those are my 2.
Okay.
All right, next part of this question. Came across this the other day. I want to hear your guys' take on it. What scenario are you taking? All right, normal MLB team and rules, or a normal MLB team, but your outfield is made up of above average 10-year-olds, and you only need 1 out per inning. Who wins this game? The kids do not have to bat. They just play in the outfield. So, well, first off, if Paul Skeens is pitching, that's going to help. I'll take the 10-year-olds. If he's on a, rolling like he was the other day, I still might. Decent pitcher, ground ball pitcher, keep the ball in the infield, get that, it's 1 out. And then they're not batting. So we must have, we got 3 DHs or whatever. So I think I'll take those 10-year-olds, and that'd be interesting as hell when that ball gets hit to the outfield. The scramble out there, and then how far that cutoff guy's got to get out there if it gets to the wall, watching him throw it in. But I think I'd go with them, but that's interesting. What about you?
Well, the one thing to consider here, 10-year-olds play on a much smaller field, right? So when you're above average as a 10-year-old, you're playing on a Little League field. There's a little bit more room in that outfield. So I don't know that it's going to be as cut and dried as we think based on the question. But if you got someone pitching, I think I'd be willing to take a rip at it.
Yeah, that's kind of, where the hell he heard that or saw that, but that's it's another good question. Let's move down to this one right here.
Okay.
Why don't you take that one and we'll move those other 2 kind of together.
Okay.
So.
We got old Dan from McQuango back.
Dan, wonderful, beautiful. We haven't heard from him in a while.
What are your thoughts on kids playing up in sports? Are your thoughts different at the youth level, a 5th grader playing 6th graders, or at the high school level with, say, a freshman playing on the varsity? I know we have talked about these types of things already. I have a very cut and dried belief system on this, and I'm guessing there's nobody that dealt with this issue more than I ever had to with the numbers that we had. Obviously, we had no numbers, right? 15 guys, 16 guys on the varsity. We always had a JV. As long as we had 11, 12 kids, we did it. So then you get into the whole thing. Do you bring up freshmen or sophomores? The answer is yes, they come up, but they have to be a starter on one side of the ball. Otherwise, they stay and play JV because we're not pulling a kid up to sit on the bench where they should be playing down there. I am 100%. That is written in stone. If you are a freshman and you are coming up to the varsity, you're playing on one side of the ball at least, possibly two. Same with a sophomore. If you're going to pull the kid up because he's above average, he should be performing and not sitting on the bench. And I have seen that far too many times with people over the years where they pull up sophomores and you're looking at them. They got kids that are sitting on the bench as sophomores and they're not playing. They should be on JV playing. They need to play.
Yeah, well, in football, it's a little different deal too because so much of that depends on the kid's physical size and strength.
Yes.
It's basketball. When you look at that, if you got a freshman that can just sit out there and drill threes, but not physically ready, you could probably still use him.
Yes.
But in the football side of it, you got to know, right? Can this kid handle it? And then if he can, again, he's got to be able to play for you. Right. You're not going to bring him up and make him watch and then go on special teams here and there when he could be getting those reps down below. So that's two different things with the sport. So I'm not sure what Dan is talking about sport-wise, but it's got to be obvious to me, right? And that goes into what you just said. If it's a tweener kid, I don't care what sport you're talking about. If I look at it in the basketball side of it and say, all right, I'm gonna bring this kid up, he's not going to be starting, but he can help. Well, then you're coaching a lot of this game where you're thinking about the freshman or the sophomore that you have sitting on the bench, and all of a sudden the game's over. Maybe you weren't as confident with him on the court at this point, or her, and the game ends and the kid was only in for 3.5 minutes, and it could have been down with the JV playing ball. So that's one thing, it's got to be obvious, and I think for the most part when I've done that, it's been obvious. The other side of it too, some of these younger kids that are playing in the JV, if you keep that core group together as freshmen or sophomores on the junior varsity, then they're blowing people out by 30 or 40 points, and they're only playing half a game in meaningless JV basketball, right? And I don't mean that way, but so that's part of it. Then you always got to look at mentally, is the kid going to be able to handle? It's not always easy, right? You got some of these senior athletes. How are they going to accept it? What type of chemistry do you have? What type of program do you have? Are you going to be able? Is this kid going to be able to handle maybe some of the stuff that he's got to deal with juniors or seniors that might be a dick to him or whatever, right? When you come up, so that's mentally, can he handle that part of it?
I'm against the whole, they're really good on JV. We got to keep them together. They're going to be really good. How many times has that worked out for you?
Yeah.
It works out sometimes. But the other thing is, on JV, they were 9-0 on JV. Yeah, well, you played 9 teams that got the other schools, all their sophomores are playing on the varsity for the same reasons we're talking about. So the whole keep the JV team together, that can go, you can go fill a hole with that.
The ones who say that a lot of times are the parents of the kids that aren't. That their kids aren't getting brought up. They want the success down there, so it kind of creates a little bit of jealousy.
They don't give state championships for JV sports. And as somebody that was a JV basketball coach, if the kid's good enough to play on the varsity and is getting minutes, he belongs up there. We're not keeping kids on JV just so we can win 20 games.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the wrong reason.
And the other side of it you mentioned too, it's always, each school is a little different when you talk about enrollment and numbers. You're pressured to do it. You got to get kids ready, right? You might have so-and-so in an ideal situation, he could have played 9 games in the JV, but he had to grow up quick in your program. And that's a whole different deal too. So I've always been for it, but you got to have the right mentality of the kid, the right mentality in the program to be able to deal with it.
They got to, I'll go back, we'll kind of wrap this up because we have been up and down this for years, but I think if there's a 9th or 10th grade kid on the varsity, they have to, in football, they got to be playing at least one way, maybe both. And I think you're agreeing if they come up for a basketball, they got to be contributing significant time too. Otherwise, they're getting punished for being better and not playing, and that's the end of my soliloquy.
Yeah, and that's a good point. You don't punish these young kids because they're good. Let them play where they belong.
All right, going back to this long one here. This is right up your alley here, Oj. This is going to be, or should we save that one for the end?
Well, I think Are we missing one here?
I have no idea. There's some on the back there. Should we save that one because that's going to slide us right into the
C and E, correct?
yeah.
Those should be at the end because we got a few others that comment. I swear we are missing one.
From who?
Well, let's take a look. We got, did we do those two? Yep, we did that.
Yep.
We just did that. Yeah, I guess you're right. We're down to, and I forgot about this one, so let's go to that one because I'm totally off on that.
Yeah, I don't even think it's really a question, but we got Anthony from MSP. We are
Former guest on pod.
former guest on the pod. So a little background here. So Mr. Anthony Santi, Nelson Winky, Minneapolis area. But they have a crew of UP guys. A lot of tech alum UP guys, and they play softball. And their team, they have a picture of the UP, and then underneath it says yours.
I've heard about this team.
Up yours. Right?
Okay.
It's kind of world famous from what he tells us. But they refer to themselves as the Uper Troopers. So he goes, we are canning the Uper Troopers as our softball name. What are some mascot names and suggestions people from the pod could suggest for us?
Well, Uber Troopers is dumb.
Yeah.
They should. How long did they go with that?
I don't know. I bet you they haven't won a championship because of that.
1 year too long, probably. That was rough. But I have no answer for him.
Yeah, so, well, I think he wants our tens of fans to contribute. So if you got a suggestion to replace the
Let's put it on the poll.
okay, we'll get the poll going.
Yeah, so let's get a better name than the Uber Troopers for all those guys in Minneapolis. Oh, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Oh. Let's see. Well, in the nick of time, in classic fashion,
Oh my.
Normal Matthew. Why is NIL ruining the game and not doing things the right way? Until Michigan, oh, I knew this was coming. Until Michigan wins with a full team that is bought and paid for, and then it's cool and admirable. Who would you rather sauna with, Joe Mazzulla or Dan Hurley? Well, let's just get to the first part first. Yeah, there's tons of issues with the NIL. I think they've got to regulate things with that. We went through this 1,000 times. But in Michigan's case, and I think all we said was, Dusty May did one hell of a job of constructing a team with the rules that are in place now.
Right.
Brought these guys in, and if it was done by a different team and they beat Michigan State, I would have been pissed and saying, see, they're doing it that way, Izzo does it this way, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, I'm biased, but it was cool. I thought he did a good job of, obviously, organizing a team,
Yeah.
right, in the way of the...
Playing the cards he was dealt.
There you go.
Now, how you shuffle that deck is the problem. It is what it is, right? These colleges now have general managers and people on top of it, and it appears as if there's some semblance of credibility in doing it. But the issue I have with this crap is when you get these sleazy little agent outfit guys that are reaching out and trying to get you to get into the portal because I can get you this, I can get you that.
Right.
You know, recruiting, and that's, it is what it is. I get it. I'm not going to change the world, but like if Oj is a good player at a school and he's not in the portal, and I'm this little sleazy agent. Hey, Oj, you get in the portal. I'll get you $50,000 from Pelkey Tech. That type of stuff, putting stuff into kids' heads when it isn't already there. Now, if the kids are in the portal, they want to do it, but I think the contacting the kids that are not already in the portal, I think that's garbage. I think that's the first thing we're going to fix.
Yeah, and the other side of this too, especially in football, I mean, it's an equal playing field, sort of now, whereas, I mean, you look back at some of these interviews with these people about the SEC and football, my God, the amount of money that they were paying people when it wasn't legal, it's crazy. And some of these ex-coaches that come out and just said it. They were in, what's his face, the deep voice guy that was at LSU. Ed Orgeron,
yeah.
He had comments like, crap, they were paying him for, and these players were talking about the money they got, so.
And the banners from the Fab Five have been removed.
Yeah.
Whereas there would be a statue of that guy, I forget his name. Who was the guy that paid Weber and
Ed,
Yeah.
Not Ed Orgeron.
No,
But is it an Ed
Yeah, I
something?
think it is. But I mean, so I think again, you're right. The playing field has been leveled with that. I just the sleaziness in the background where kids aren't already in the portal and you're trying to. That part's got to go.
Phase 2 of this question is sauna question. Who would you rather sauna with, Joe Mazzulla? You probably don't even know who he is.
Is that the Celtics guy?
Yeah. Or Dan Hurley. He said, I thought Hurley coached a great game against Michigan. He did. We commented on that.
Yeah,
The
we
only
did.
thing I wish he did more was lambaste the officials in the post-game press conference. It was almost like he knew he didn't have to, because everyone who watched the game knew that the way it was called made it tough for UConn. Oof. Sounds like somebody that probably had investments on UConn winning the national title. Maybe would have got some money through a few different pools. If that would have
Probably
taken
sour grapes coming.
Yep, I would say so. Sauna-wise, I would take Hurley for sure, because sauna's a great place to really get into somebody, have good conversation, get into their mind a little bit. And I'd like to see what that wacko is really like when I'm in control of the rocks.
Yeah.
And see if he can sit there and take it like a man. I'd take him for sure.
Okay, but
Interesting guy.
what if you pull up there and he's going into the sauna with a White Claw?
Do you think he is?
I don't.
I bet you Missoula's a White Claw.
Mike's Hard Lemonade.
Truly, or yeah, that is a great question.
Does that factor in?
For sure.
Okay.
Now I've sounded with people that have come in there with a glass, actual glass of wine. That's happened before. But this, yeah, does Hurley drink a beer in the sauna? Boy, he sure seems like he would.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he's probably a guy that I'm picking him too, by the way. But I think he's one that once you get him out of the competitive game situation, he could probably sit back and chill in the sauna.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. All right, thank you for being on time again, Normal Matthew.
All right, strike one. Okay, let's just go through these here. My vote for the best version of Will You Come On Visit Me on Sundays is the Charlie Leuven. Is that how you say that version? I had never actually heard of him versus Merle, George, Conway, Twitty, Marty Stewart, etc. before listening to the episode, but his voice was the best at conveying the haunting theme of the song, while the others seemed to be a little too upbeat about their impending death. So he actually did his homework that you gave him. First time ever, probably. For the greatest one-hit wonder, how about Chris Big Red Shelton? He had one of the best Aprils in MLB history for the Tigers circa 05-06, and then just fell off the map for the rest of his career. Have you guys seen the Seinfeld bit about cheering for laundry when it comes to sports teams? Professional teams seem to have more continuity than college teams these days, as they at least have multi-year contracts, whereas college players are essentially on one-year deals. Please comment how this relates to the current state of college sports and how it will affect walk-on players. And Crouchy, how has the transfer portal affected Michigan Tech football? Keep up the good work, boys. Leroy, the big
Puss.
Ganin from Cal.
Good to hear from him again. I'll get to the Will You Visit Me on Sundays talk here in a minute, so we'll kind of skip through that. The one-hit wonder thing that... Chris Shelton, do you remember?
I have no idea who that is.
No, I have no clue. But it's got to be more than a guy hitting 400 for a week, right? I mean, we were talking some other guys, so he just throws a name out there.
I mean, how about the guy that robbed 3 home runs? Is he a one-hit wonder because he hasn't done that since?
Yeah, right. Chris Shelton. What about the Seinfeld? I remember, I don't know if that's cheering for laundry. I remember a scene with those guys at the laundromat.
I don't quite, and I'm pretty good with the Seinfeld stuff.
I know. I can't, and that stumps me too. I don't, something.
Cheering for laundry when it comes to sports teams.
I don't know if he's worded that correctly. But I don't remember. I do remember a scene in the laundromat. I think it was Jerry and Kramer. And maybe Elaine came in there. So I remember something about...
Kramer was dumping the Quickcrete into the washer.
Well, there you go. Is that anything to do with sports teams there?
I don't think so.
Come on, puss. And then he, goes on, kind of like we just talked about. That's the key, right? Dusty May was able to take the transfer portal crew and build chemistry and coach them up to win a national title. But some of these, that's the big key. Can these coaches getting the guys there is one thing. Coaching them up and creating a team is a whole nother thing.
Yes, I agree with you 100%. Again, I think that's still there's a lot of moving parts with that. Transfer portal at Tech is really not that big of a deal. Maybe a kid here and there. We did get the brother of one of our good players transferred, but that was probably, that's not because we got sleazy agents out there.
Yeah.
And again, you're not really losing a whole lot, hopefully. But it's just Michigan Tech's it's a different culture, different, it's the academic school that it is. So
how will it affect walk-on players?
Well, I think where the big push is going there is that I think the recruiting of high school kids is really changed, right? If we were big-time coaches, how many high school kids are we recruiting? We're going to different levels and getting kids that are already a little bit. So I don't know.
Yeah. So if you're hardly even recruiting the stars out of high school, it's certainly going to affect walk-ons.
And then roster limits. Putting the limits on rosters now is going to eliminate some of the walk-on things there. It's the best we got, Pusk. Thank you, though.
We have, speaking of not hearing from guys in a while, Darren from the block.
I don't remember if he ever had another handle.
He wants to mention right off the bat that he did his homework as well, and his opinion on "Will you visit me on Sunday?" He says George Jones as the best version, beating out Merle Haggard by a hair. Charlie Leuven hanging out in third place ahead of Conway and Marty Stewart. I didn't even bring up Marty Stewart or Loretta. But he has two questions, and very good questions. Feel free to answer. Blah, blah, blah. Number one, who is the best Major League Baseball pitcher to never win a World Series? You're probably going to say Nolan.
Well,
I didn't know. Did he win one?
I don't know if he did.
I don't think he did. When I was looking at it,
I know he never won a Cy Young.
Well, that was the deal. I always thought that was the big stat for him, that he never won a Cy Young award.
Right.
I didn't know he didn't win a World Series ring.
But he did pitch with so many teams.
Well, check it out.
I mean, he's without a doubt the best pitcher to never win the stupid Cy Young
and
award.
that's the one that I thought. But that's why I didn't even think about him for this. So
he was a rookie with the '69 Mets.
He was.
So
rookie. Okay. So no. All right. So the one that's
he never won one as an established pitcher.
I wonder if he was even in that rotation.
Yeah.
But the one that I thought of with this right away, and this has been brought up in trivia before, always around his name, it popped up right away, was Phil Niekro.
I know. That's actually who I thought of initially, because he pitched for 100 years.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It was 24 seasons he was in the league, and that's why his name always popped up with that.
Right.
He threw the knuckleball. He was able to, the longevity for him was crazy. But he's a Hall of Famer. He had 318 wins, 3.35 ERA.
Brother Joe was also a knuckleballer.
Yeah. Fergie Jenkins was the one that popped up when I started looking. Hell of a pitcher. I think his span of greatness was small, kind of like Dale Murphy. So that was the other one. But a couple that came up when I looked for more recency, guys that we've seen pitch actually. Mike Mussina's one. He had 18 years in the league. Pretty damn good pitcher.
Yeah, he was a good pitcher. I liked him.
And then the one that comes up now, as far as being damn good, and he's been in the league for a number of years, hurt, and he's back throwing pretty well, as Jacob deGrom.
He struggled when he came back from that injury.
In the Mets, remember it was deGrom, and they had like 3 studs, and the Mets couldn't get over the hump with those guys when they were all young. 3 stud pitchers. I think he's with Texas now, but yeah, it's a good question. But I think Niekro, the Hall of Famer's got to be the one we mentioned right away. 24 years in the league and not getting there.
I used to love him too. I mean, so side note on the Mets, I really thought the Mets manager was going to be the first one to get axed this year. Right? But
Jesus, they did. I think they lost 12 in a row.
Yeah.
So anyway, are we up for?
We got a second part to the question.
Oh shit, yeah. Let's see, where are we at here? Number 2. of the four major, this is another good one, of the four major professional sports, which would be the most difficult to officiate? Which would be the easiest?
Basketball is going to be the most difficult because of the way that game is played and the flopping and the whining and
No doubt about it.
Drama.
Hockey can't be too far behind because of the speed of hockey, right? I mean, it's got to be, to me, that would be number two. Basketball for sure. It's block charges are a difficult call at any level.
And whiners.
And, well, the whining and the flopping. You know, the so-called traveling rules that are different in the NBA compared to everything else. Yeah, to go through and deal with that, the collegiate level, having that psycho Danny Hurley barking in your ear for a whole game. They're right there, right? They're right on top of you, the coaches, the players. So I think basketball for sure. I don't know hockey.
I was actually going to put hockey as the easiest.
Really?
Well, it's a continuous game. There's not a lot of stop and start. You know, there's penalties that you got to call, but basically you can't be offsides. You can't ice the puck. You know, there's things that you still have to be. I'm not saying it's the easiest game, but I'm just saying as far as there's not as much stop and start each play. I mean, there's more continuity.
See, I would have. To me, I was leaning toward football being the easiest. Because you have a group, right? You have a group, and you're only in charge of. You got to do your job if you're the line judge or whatever, right?
Right.
And the calls are tough. I get, pass interference is like block charge. It's got, you can review every one of them, and they make an argument either way on it. Those are tough, but you throw out the holdings. I'm guessing that's probably the easiest, and it's because you got a group officiating different sections of the game.
Okay.
Baseball's got it easy, you can just
tap
tap the element. How's that going? Are you watching it?
I gotta be honest. The one thing I do like about it is it's instant. They're not going over. Look at they get buzzed down and they fix it. So I think that's been good. I'm like, what do you mean? He tapped his helmet? Oh, that's a ball. I mean, so it was that quick.
Yeah,
it was that quick. So
I agree. And it's amazing how quick or how close these are when those catchers throw it out there. I mean, it's just a smidgen off or just touching that edge. So I don't know. I've liked it, and it is quick, so that's good.
Well, the one thing that it does, though, is it does make that strike zone consistent, because we've talked about this before, too. You get the umpires who have their zone, right? They're not calling that thing above.
You don't hear that anymore.
Right.
We're getting a lot of the high strikes tonight.
So I think that side of it does take the human element out of it a little bit, which, as a traditionalist, we want to see, but it does make the strike zone more consistent, I believe.
Yeah, for sure. All right.
Was that the last of our questions?
Yeah, I think so.
Boy, that was a good ride.
It was. What time is it? Lunchtime?
Yeah. Almost time to get the power room running.
So we'll talk a little bit about the question, the homework question.
Yeah.
When we get in to listen to lyrics.
I got to tell you, as a teacher, you got to be pretty proud of your students so far. Located 8 miles south of Lake Limited on the Bojack Road, the Dreamland Restaurant is your choice for great dining. Family owned and operated for over 100 years. Whether you're in the mood for their Mexican Monday specials, burgers, pizza, or a Friday fish fry, Dreamland is your next stop.
So, when we posted this a couple weeks ago, I wanted to get people's opinions on who they thought sang the song "Will You Visit Me on Sundays" the best. What is the best version? There were 3 guys. Charlie Leuven, a lot of people didn't know or hadn't heard of him. The Leuven brothers were a big group in the 50s, into the 60s. But I got some feedback, a few texts, and little do these people know when we say we're going to put her in the poll actually just means I'm looking to see what they think, and then I'm going to tell them what the correct answer is.
Yeah.
So there is no real vote on who's getting the most, that's not a thing here. This is just me telling you who wins.
And why you're wrong.
And why they are wrong, correct. I'm not wrong. Why they are wrong, yes.
It's our show.
So, I got Jenny Buchak, she said George Jones, which is...
Got to carry some weight in your household.
Yeah, that was good. Then I got 2, Garrett from Fairfield and one other, both said, it was David W.
Yeah.
They both threw out there that it was Conway Twitty. So those 2 are completely wrong. and I'll get to why here in a minute. They're in last place. They flunked. We'll get to Darren from the block. So he says George Jones. I did Jenny Buchak. He's got Merle second, Charlie Lubin third, then Conway. So I would actually put Merle in this version. I'd put Merle a little down toward the bottom near Conway. Just probably above Conway because he's better. But those two guys sang this song a little too smooth and a little too pretty.
Okay.
All right? That puts him down there. Now, George Jones, he ain't going to sing a song like this smooth or pretty. He does it the way he does it. But the Big Pusk, when you read this earlier, he is 100% spot on. Charlie Leuven sang that song, and how did he say it in here? Conveying the haunting theme of the song, and he did. He sung it like he was actually in the grave, singing that thing upward. And I agree with the Pusk. There is no doubt the best version is by Charlie Leuven. George Jones a close second, and the rest of them a mile behind. So thank you for all who played. I appreciate the feedback.
And who did Darren say? He thought it was George
Jones, yeah. So
okay.
If there was a second place award, it would go to Darren and Jenny Buchak. Garrett from Fairfield, David W., they flunked. And the Big Puss, what did we get them? Another can koozie?
Probably
I'll throw out the window of my truck when they drive by on the way home. So yeah, that brings us to listen to lyrics. And also, for those of you, look at these pages falling out of here.
And
Remember the old days?
yeah,
Hell.
and we had such a good ride at the old
There it
book.
is. And this is a complete Aspirus. That's where that came from. So this is going to be the last listen to the lyrics that we do where we're actually going to play a song. Now, we'll get to a couple other things as far as lasts coming up here in a minute, but my partner over here, you know, he's been battling the copyright police for some time. So if you listen, these songs get cut off pretty short, not like the good old days when we first started. So it's not worth that anymore, but I can still talk about a song, and then you people got to actually play it on your own. So
we could link the song on our social media.
Well, whatever, but whatever you're into. So anyway, this week I'd say it's time for a song by a lady who is is the greatest female in the history of country music. And what I'm trying to say is that I'm talking about the entire spectrum of it, the whole deal. Talent, voice, songwriting, entertaining, longevity, acting, on and on. She's probably the most famous female in country music of all time also. Mm-hmm. So now, back in the early 60s, when Loretta Lynn was writing and making hits out of songs like Fist City and You Ain't Woman Enough to Take My Man, this lady writes an absolute gut-wrenching ballad about a woman basically begging another woman not to steal her man just because she can. In a simple little trip to a bank in Nashville with her newlywed husband Carl Dean was all Dolly needed to write this mega hit. And as the story goes, the cute little red-headed teller at the bank was a little too flirty with Carl, and Dolly, it's all she could think about on her way home. And she wrote down this song thinking about that girl's name tag right on her shirt, spelling out Jolene. Spin it for him, Crouchy.
Okay, Oj. I was wondering when Dolly was going to make an appearance.
Yeah, you know, I'm not a huge Dolly fan. There's a few I like. Coat of Many Colors, I actually heard that one on the way here. That's about her poor childhood upbringing. You know, she had the big hit with I Will Always Love You, Whitney brought it back, and blah, blah, blah. But she wrote thousands and thousands of songs and made mega bucks and still going.
Do you like the one with her and Kenny Rogers?
No, because I can't stand Kenny Rogers either.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not a Kenny Rogers. I should say either. I like Dolly. Nothing. Just her voice is a little. It's distinctive. Put it that way.
Okay. Well, that's gonna wrap up episode 130, and we got a couple of big time announcements we got to make, eh? We got a couple of things here. Both you and I, are both officially entering the transfer portal at the end of the school year?
Yeah, I guess that's the way to put it.
Yeah, both Oj and I have put in for retirement. We will be officially entering the transfer portal.
Both for kind of different reasons, but we don't need to get into that.
Yeah, so there's some changes coming there, and we're also gonna do 2 more pods and then call that a career as well, hey?
Yeah, so we'll do one in 2 weeks. That'll be our semifinal, and then one more after that toward the end of May, whenever we get it in. And maybe, you know, we can still come back and do a little football preview or something if we want, right? We
Yeah.
can still throw stuff out there, but it's not going to be the consistency of what it has been. And I think we've 130 or whatever the hell it is now is probably enough. So
We've kind of set out to do what we wanted to do, and
yeah, there's a few people that we did not get interviewed. You know, there's some on our list that we can throw that out there maybe in our last episode. Some of the ones that that we meant to get, but yeah, it's just I think it's time. I've had enough.
we don't want to be that house guest who stays too long.
So anyway, yeah, a couple weeks we'll be back, and we'll see where we're at then.
See you, Oj.
Talk to you later, Coachy.